Um, Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Talking Games with Kellie and Andrew. I almost messed that up.
Wow. Great start.
Oh, I guess I'm Andrew.
I'm also Kellie. But if you get the mistake out of the way now, then the rest of the episode will go smoothly. That's what I've heard.
That's not how that's going to happen. I told Kellie before we recorded that I spent all day talking to this microphone for my job. And then we hop over here and we're doing it in a less formal fashion. So that makes it easier to not mess up. Oh, goodness.
Oh, my gosh.
We're back from a long break, though. Kellie had a fist fight with a tornado.
I was
and lost.
I was tussling. I was tussling with Mother Nature, and Mother Nature showed me what was good. And I can't argue against her like that. So I was beholden to northern power grids. And unfortunately, you may be shocked, listeners who don't live in the United States, but the infrastructure here is really bad. So
shocking.
Shocking. It was quite literally shocking.
Although if you stuck a fork into your outlets those days, you wouldn't have gotten shocked. That's
true. That is actually true.
You should have tried that. That was like the one day it was safe to do that.
I actually, you know what's interesting? I just had no desire to do that.
Oh, you don't think about doing that all the time?
No, not really.
Most times I get a fork out of a drawer. The first thing I think is, what if I put this in an outlet?
I think that this is a conversation that might be best saved for your therapist.
Well, you see, it's not like that crazy.
Sure.
Because it's obviously it's going to go from like the outlet to the like pasta puttanesca or whatever I'm eating. Like it's not going to be just the outlet. I'm still hungry.
Right.
I just want a little wake up call before I eat.
Yeah, it's like shock therapy.
Oh, that's different, I think.
Right.
Unless I don't actually know. I don't know if I know what that means exactly.
I think shock therapy is just when they would like strap you down onto a table and like shoot your brain with electricity until you were basically lobotomized.
Oh, I should try that.
Well, I actually don't know if they do it anymore.
Oh, well, they do it because right here I have a story about it. GameStop.
They do?
You're funny. GameStop did shock therapy to one of their most, what's the word? Intellectually valuable legs of their business. I know that print magazine doesn't exactly bring in all the money in the world, but GameStop shut down Game Informer, the longest running video game magazine in the United States. It's been going for 33 years, which I guess doesn't surprise me, but like it's a little surprising. Like 33 years is really old.
Yeah.
And I think it's not so much that it's shut down. It was shut down without warning and like nuked. The website's gone. So if you go to the website, they're just like, bye.
Yeah, that is really crazy to me.
Well, like you probably would want to visit their website to read like those Dragon Age articles that they were posting like a few weeks ago. And now those just don't, I'm sure people have all the information, but those just don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
In an official capacity.
I'm sure the marketing team at BioWare is like, they're in like on fire mode right now. Because like their whole marketing plan was through Game Informer. Now it's all gone.
I would hope that maybe they already like, because most people probably aren't still reading those articles. Maybe they assumed that the majority of their people already read that stuff. The people they're marketing to, I mean.
Right.
But still, like that's just one thing. 33 years worth of writing has been lost in an instant. And like they had no reason not to give them like a final issue or something, right? How much more could it have cost, really, to give them like 2 more weeks to write a farewell issue?
Yeah, this is very jarring. I feel like I can't even imagine being in like the position of a writer and all this. You clock into work one day and then all of a sudden they're like, "You need to go home. We're done. It's over," and all your work is erased. I mean, I'm sure they have it, but I mean,
well, it's like there's creative merit to it. Like if that happened to me at some of my old jobs, I wouldn't have. I mean, that kind of happened at some of my old jobs. I didn't care because I didn't have a creative stake in what was being created. It was just, it was work. If that happened to my creative stuff, if that, like that, obviously this podcast is not bankrolled by anything, but like if somebody told us this podcast was canceled without warning and then just deleted it, That would suck to just lose something you put effort into for years and years. And some of these people have probably been there for decades.
Yeah. Yeah, it is really disappointing and shocking. I mean, you're right that a physical print book is not doing well. Speaking as someone with some experience in this realm, magazines are either going away or they're getting a lot smaller or they're only being published a couple times a year. So it is quite shocking that they totally removed their digital aspect as well, though.
Yeah, that's what gets me, because there's no real reason to get rid of that, in my opinion. Like, maybe scale back and make it like basically just a games reporting website that does a lot less, which still sucks because they would be laying people off, I'm sure. But like, give them a goodbye. Let them say ta-ta.
Yeah. Yes. And unfortunately, that is not our only bad news story this week.
That's like half of our show today.
Yeah, it's not a super optimistic, happy show, but Bungie, I almost call them Bungie. Bungie is suffering from a bunch of layoffs. Sony dropped the news, laying off about 220 people, which is about 17% of their staff. This happened right at the end of July 31st. So, Bungie, I don't really understand. I didn't think that they were, suffering to this extent. I mean, I know Destiny is not like the most popular game, but it does have a lot of, I think it has a loyal player base. And like, obviously we know Halo, it's kind of a mess right now. Just the whole IP is a bit of a mess, but to lay off 17% of your studio is really wild. And
I guess the only fairness is that the only thing that Bungie has their hands on is Destiny at this point. Like, they're like the live service company. They were bought by Sony so that they could become the beacon of light in the live service push that they were going into. And what have they done? They released that Destiny 2 DLC, which was very well received critically, but how many people did that bring into play Destiny 2? How many people did that increase their spending or make sure that they were actually buying the microtransactions? What I'm saying is not that this is a justified layoff. I'm saying that maybe Sony shouldn't have bought them and they could have continued doing this on their own as an independent studio. And maybe these layoffs would have happened anyway. It's hard to say, but with the way PlayStation has been with their layoffs, most of them have been undue. There's no real reason to do these layoffs. They're just trying to cut costs. And this is presented to the public on the official news release as a new path for Bungie. It's like, don't say that. That's bullcrap. You lay off 20% of your staff and you're like, this is a new path for us. It's like, no, you just laid people off.
Yeah.
Don't use whimsical terms.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's just disappointing. You're right. It's like the framing of it is very like corporate slop, but I guess we shouldn't be surprised. I don't know.
Well, we have another big acquisition ending badly, and that is Ready at Dawn Studios. They were acquired to be part of the Oculus Studio team and owned by Meta or Facebook. Their VR games that they've made have been some of the highest received, and they also used to work in portable gaming. They actually worked on the portable God of War games, and they made Daxter, which is Kelly's favorite game. But Meta, without warning, shut them down last week. I'm getting confused because this article says it was updated on August 17th. And it's August 13th. So I'm a little confused as to what that means.
I think it's August 7th. Are you adding a 1?
No, scroll down a little bit.
Oh, you're right.
And then it says updated 8/17. And I was like, wait, I think there's a 1 in there that shouldn't be in there. Apologies, that's not part of the story. The story is that Ready at Dawn has been shut down by Facebook. this is one of those situations where, you know, they're making games that are probably making money, and they're making games that are very well received, but they're probably making games that aren't making all the money. And I don't even know, like, I truly do not understand the Quest digital ecosystem, like how much money all of the games on there are making, because I don't know anybody who partakes in that marketplace. I am the most who, of everybody I know, I'm the one who uses it the most, and I use it very, very little. I've probably bought like 4 or 5 games on my Quest. So are there people that are just buying games constantly? Is it really that lucrative? It might be.
I can't imagine,
but I can't
but
imagine.
the answer is yes.
Just another loss, really.
Yeah. And following this trend, Humble Games has also restructured. Basically, they have laid off their entire staff and called it a restructuring. People who used to work there are saying that whoever's working there now is like totally outsourced to a third party. So that is the restructure. It's just not the same staff anymore. But yeah, this was a couple weeks ago. Humble Games make Signalis. Signalis, that's what it's called, or yeah. And they do. It is like it does have something to do with the Humble Bundle, but that's not.
Yeah, bundles aren't going to go anywhere.
Yeah, but
I want to, because they still haven't confirmed what's going to happen to the games that were being published by them. Like, are the games that were being published by them that aren't out yet, are those just canned, or do those get to shop for new publishers, or do they get to go indie? I don't know. That's what makes me more nervous than anything, because it's not like those games are going to go away that have already been published, and it's a big loss. Losing those few dozen jobs really sucks, but like, I really hope that game developers who spent years on their games and found this publisher that's supposed to be like a champion for indie games doesn't just make their game disappear overnight. That would really sting.
Yeah.
So another one gone. That one was weird to me, because you know, the indie scene has seemed kind of like outside of the realm of layoffs, I guess, of the immense layoffs, at least to the scale that we've been seeing in the AAA industry. But I don't know. It's just an unnecessary loss, and it sucks. And do you remember who they were owned by?
No, I have no idea.
Okay, because I thought they had some corporate overlord, but it's owned by the media company Ziff Davis. Oh, it's the company that bought all of those video game
Publications,
journalism sites. Yeah, it's because it's the same exact ones that owns IGN and Rock Paper Shotgun. So yeah, it's a corporate overlord situation, which a trend. That's just how it is. But maybe we have some potentially good news here for you, and that is that the video game voice actors have begun a strike. The main concern of this strike being the use of AI voices in video games. This is a SAG-AFTRA strike, so this is going to be very similar to the what was the actor strike called before? Was it just that actor strike that happened earlier this year?
Yeah. Well, it was a writer's strike first.
Yeah, and then actors.
It was an actor strike.
And now it's the same organization, so I'm kind of surprised they didn't like work their way into that one, I guess. Yeah. But I hope this is good news. It's one of those things that we'll just have to cover over time, but they are indeed going on strike. So this will probably affect video game development in the short term, depending how long that strike lasts.
Yeah. It's only voice actors who are in SAG-AFTRA. It's not. Yeah,
I would like to see what percentage.
Other voice actors may not be striking, but they may also not be like crossing the line.
Yeah.
In solidarity.
I'd be curious to see what percentage of video game voice actors specifically are part of that.
Yeah, me too. I would think that the the big name ones, like the ones that we know very well probably are, especially because they probably joined SAG like when they were like booking commercials and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd be curious to see like who all actually would be, but you know, they can't really talk about it right now. So,
Well, and honestly, there's so many video game voice actors whose names you don't know, like that don't play the main characters in games. How like it's just this hugely substantial number of actors, and I'm sure there is a way to like create a statistic, but it would be difficult. That's for sure.
yes. In other exciting labor news, you like that? You like that transition? The World of Warcraft team at Blizzard has announced that they are unionizing. This is around 500 people on the WoW team. They are unionizing under Microsoft. This was a few weeks ago. Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
I think the thing for me with this one is that means, you know, a strike is now an option for them.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that Activision Blizzard would let that happen, because a live service game losing its development staff would have instant massive repercussions, you know? Mm-hmm. If it's like a single player game in development or something, like if Machine Games went on strike, oh no, Indiana Jones gets delayed. That sucks. But if Blizzard went on strike, or if the WoW team went on strike, I should say, World of Warcraft is in trouble. Like, they need those 500 people just to keep that thing floating.
Yeah.
It would sink.
Yeah.
So I would hope this means they have a ton of leverage as far as like demands and stuff, because Blizzard economically needs them to stick around, and hopefully pays them and gives them the benefits and such to reflect that fact. Hopefully we never find out. Hopefully things just go well enough that they're never trying to go on strike. But if they have to, they have to, you know, that's their business.
Yeah.
In other potentially good news, depending on how you look at it, Warner Brothers is reportedly looking to sell their stake in the video games business. Warner Brothers makes a lot of games, such as Mortal Kombat, Hogwarts Legacy, and Kelly's other favorite game, Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League. So the reason I consider this good news is because Warner Brothers has IP that I think could be valuable in video games. You know, like the Arkham games were really good, and like I guess Hogwarts is like a game that people enjoy, and Mortal Kombat and stuff. And I think that taking Warner Brothers' greedy little mitts, their little messy fingers, their disgusting hands. I don't know why I took the long time to say the word hands, but just getting their paws off of those IP and letting other more inspired developers make these things could be really cool. But I don't have all the optimism in the world, because who can afford to buy this other than a massive corporation?
Right.
It's not like they're selling it to like me. Unless
you get that checkbook out.
I think we could afford it. I think Talking Games with Kellie and Andrew could be the new owner of Warner Brothers video game division.
Sure.
Are you in?
No.
Do you think that means we own Bugs Bunny?
No.
Oh, then I'm probably not in.
Maybe not Bugs Bunny, but definitely Elmer Fudd.
Elmer Fudd is for sale. Elmer for sale.
And I'm buying.
Is that the one that... No, the pig is the one that goes, that's all, folks.
Yeah. Elmer Fudd is the one who's always hunting Bugs Bunny.
Oh, and he talks kind of slow and nasally.
Mm-hmm. You know who I really like? Foghorn Leghorn.
I don't think I know who that is.
He's the big chicken, and he speaks...
Oh,
and he has a really specific kind of dialect.
Yeah, it's like kind of southern-y.
Yeah, and he's kind of...
He's kind of what? I'm sorry, I think your mic cut out a little bit. I think maybe the internet is a little wobbly. I think maybe you'll have to repeat that louder and clearer.
Sure. I said he's kind of...
Oh, Kelly, I think the tornado might be swinging by your house again. I think you're going to have to repeat that one more time.
I said that former Xbox studio Tango Gameworks including Hi-Fi Rush, has now been acquired by Krafton, who makes
That
PUBG.
sounds a lot longer than the word sexy, which is the word that got
That's
cut
not
out.
what I was saying.
Oh, you were saying that about Tango Gameworks?
Uh-huh. No, I was saying, I was saying that Tango Gameworks now belongs to Krafton. So they're not going to shut
Mac and
down.
cheese?
Yippee!
I hope this is a trend. I hope that this continues to happen, because this is the second major Xbox studio shutdown that led to a studio being revived, because Toys for Bob became indie, and now this is being bought by technically an indie publisher. Krafton's the one that makes PUBG, so they are rich.
Right.
They're really rich, but they are still technically independent. What I'd be curious to see, because they even mentioned that they own the Hi-Fi Rush IP, is this just going to be like the Hi-Fi studio then? Or do you think they'll let them make horror games still?
I don't know.
Because like Ghostwire Tokyo, Evil Within 2 are like the big ones. But Hi-Fi Rush was obviously just such an absolute breakout in comparison, so this might be an acquisition that's kind of like, all right, we're acquiring you, but you do have to do one thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that Evil Within did have it did have people. I mean, it was positively received, I think. So I mean, in horror games, I mean, everybody's looking for the next big horror game, you know? So maybe they'll dip their toe back in. But you might, I mean, more cynically, I think that you might be right in a sense that, like, maybe they just want them to stick to these popular
What
games.
works.
Yeah.
Well, because I just double checked, they're not allowed to make new games in those other series. Like they're not Evil Within and Ghostwire Tokyo are Microsoft owned IP still.
Sure.
So
surely they could make a scary game, The Evil Without.
that was so bad. That was brutally bad. I don't know what else to say. You just Evil Without. Good job, Kelly. How long have you been sitting on that one? Did that come to you instantly?
It was kind of instant, yeah.
Wow, you got a whip sharper than
sharp cheddar
blade.
cheese. Yep.
Kraft, sharp cheddar Krafton.
Meyer brand.
Meyer.
Sharp cheddar cheese.
I'm making a joke because Krafton.
Tillamook.
I didn't. Also, did you know that PUBG was made by Krafton?
Krafton
I didn't know that
mac
name.
and cheese.
I just said that, and you made a different comment, and now you're saying it like you came up with it to begin with.
Krafton. I'm crafting my mac and cheese.
I'm glad that you're saying it again, because I didn't actually process my own joke. And joke is a generous term for what I did and for what you're now doing.
I'm joking.
I know you are.
And my
anyway,
jokes are good, though.
You said my joke. It was just a 1 minute gap between me saying it and you saying it. I hate when I get heated, because then I have to edit the podcast more, because then my waveforms all like blah.
Well, sorry. I'll stop being a little rascal.
Infuriating me.
I'll stop being a little rascal.
You know who else is a little rascal?
Who?
That screaming little gun in High on Life. Do you remember that game? High on Life? It's the one where the guns talk to you.
Yeah, it was really funny and really good.
It was made by the Rick and Morty guy.
Rick and Morty.
Was it the canceled Rick and Morty guy or the
I
not
don't
canceled
think
Rick and Morty
so.
guy?
Hold on, let me see.
Well, while you check that, I'll let the audience know that JB Smoove, who, if you've watched Curb Your Enthusiasm, you know as Leon West, he's the one that got canceled.
Yeah.
Okay, well
Not
that makes
JB
sense. Why?
Smoove.
No. JB Smoove is. I don't want to say anything too confident, because I don't want to eat my words if he does something wrong. But he seems fine. I think he's a hilarious guy. But he was in High on Life, the video game, and now he is making a TV show based on High on Life. And it is clear, based on what Kelly just said, why he's making it and not
Justin Roiland.
Justin Roiland, yeah. It makes sense now why Justin Roiland is not making it and why JB Smoove is. This sounds bad to me.
I mean, wouldn't you, if you wanted a High on Life TV show, couldn't you just watch Rick and Morty or the other series that is made by like the same people minus Justin Roiland?
Yeah, that's why I'm confused, because like, what? It's not conducive to a TV show. Wasn't the whole bit of High on Life that it's like just a regular kind of standard run-of-the-mill first-person shooter in a lot of ways? But what if your guns talk to you and it was silly? And I know the game is silly, but like, how does that become a TV show? Because like the primary bit was the first-person camera angle where it's constantly you're being paraded by your guns.
I don't know, but I'm sure it's going to be a train wreck.
Yeah, I like JB Smoove, but I don't think it's because I like JB Smoove that much. I think it's because he's surrounded by incredible talent when I see him on Curb Your Enthusiasm. But I don't think he's bad. I think he's very, very funny. But I don't know if he can. I don't know if he can write a show. I guess I'll find out when I don't watch the High on Life TV show.
Is he producing it? Because maybe if he's just producing it, he'll get someone else to write it.
Well, yeah, it's kind of unclear. He's producing it, and then he also might be in it, which like he was in the game, so of course he'll be in the show, right? I don't know. It sounds like a bad idea to me. Weird game to be adapting into a TV show, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also like I feel like that style of humor is just so dated now.
Oh.
Like like going back and watching an episode of Rick and Morty alone is like it really feels like pulling your teeth out with a pair of pliers one by one.
That sounds like a great justification for making a TV show based on a already simplified version of that.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. Hey, Andrew, are you excited for the BioShock movie?
I might be.
Right. Well, the budget's been scaled back considerably, according to a producer of the movie. So now it's going to be a more personal movie.
What's that mean? Because like it's Netflix. If you tell me, take out the word BioShock. If you tell me that new Netflix low budget movie coming out, odds are slim I'm interested.
Here's my thought process. BioShock is a personal story when you play through all three games. Like, yes, it seems sort of grandiose, but that's just because of the set dressing. But especially like if you're looking at like Infinite, that's a really personal story. It's just a story about a father and a daughter and another guy who is definitely not the father. Sorry, that was kind of spoilery. But if you play the first BioShock, it's about the main character. I can't remember his name. Is it Jack? It doesn't matter. You're playing, and it's a story about like personal agency, that sort of thing. So I feel like this could be successful, but it's also like half of the fun of BioShock is the production of it being this huge underwater city of Rapture. And if it was supposed to take place in Rapture, I feel like it's just going to look really cheap.
That's my thing, is like the story is not expensive and there doesn't even have to be much action or anything, but the setting is literally like the primary driving force of the entire franchise, you know?
Yeah.
The setting is the driving thing, without a doubt. If BioShock took place in just like some warehouses on the surface, it wouldn't have succeeded the same way it did.
Yeah, I mean, the city itself is a character in the narrative.
Yeah, I was trying not to say that because I felt like it might be cliche, and I couldn't also think of anything but Sex and the City when I said it.
I heard that Big is moving to Paris. I heard that Big Daddy is moving to Rapture. I think that joke is funny if you're terminally online.
And also if you've seen Sex and the City, which I have not.
Oh, well, just so you know, Big is moving to Paris.
He's also... I was about to spoil it.
Do you think our audience is
He's
really
dead.
that involved in Sex and the City?
He's dead, Kelly.
Wow.
He dies.
Wow.
And then also the actor is bad.
That's right. That's right.
But the character's also dead.
Right.
Did they know that when they killed him, or did they find out later and they were like, phew, thank God?
I think they didn't know.
And then
remember
didn't
he
it
was
come
in
out
that
like
Peloton
after?
commercial, and it was like a joke how he was like, I'm dead in Sex and the City, and then they had to pull the commercial because He's a criminal.
See, I don't know about that. I know very little about that show. I just know the meme about the city is the fifth character. Are there? There's four.
There's four women,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Carrie, Charlotte, Miranda.
And she's the one that left, right?
No, Miranda didn't. It was Charlotte who left.
Charlotte who left because Julia Richards.
Nope.
What's the what's the name of the main woman who's apparently
Sarah
not
Jessica
nice?
Parker.
Sarah Jessica Parker. What did I say?
Julia Richardson. Not even sure. That's,
Who's Julia
not
Richardson?
Even sure that's a person.
Okay, but she left because she was mean to her, right?
Yeah.
That's a very delicate way to put it. I'm sure if you're leaving a show, it's probably not just because somebody called you silly. Julia Roberts is who I was thinking of.
Julia Roberts is also not nice.
Julia Richardson is a famous lawyer.
Oh.
She's an anchor on WBMF.
Was she in the movie
MBF.
Was she in the movie Borderlands?
Oh, yeah. Oh, she was. Yeah, she's joined the cast in 2023. Oh, sorry, that's the WMBF news team. Sorry, I misread it.
Andrew, I didn't even know this movie came out yet.
Yeah, I think that might be a trend. I think you knew it came out because I asked if we could go.
After you sent the Rotten Tomatoes score of 4%.
It was 0%, but when I took a screenshot, it was 4. It went up, skyrocketed.
Wow. Should I, do you want me to, take this one for you, or are you,
Take what? Oh, I didn't even realize. I was sitting here waiting. I was like, Kelly, can you read the news? Unaware that I signed this one to
No, I
myself.
was just trying to tee it up for you.
I'm sitting here being like, Kelly, you're taking so long to transition into the next story. Borderlands. Sorry, there's a Vince Vaughn headline, and I was curious what he had to say.
I'm also looking at Vince Vaughn. You know, I went to I don't want to blow up anybody's spot right now. I went to a bachelorette party recently, and we were all talking about our celebrity crushes, and one person said theirs was Vince Vaughn, and I said that's really interesting.
Like today, Vince Vaughn?
I don't know. I didn't ask.
Because today Vince Vaughn's old.
I heard enough.
I don't know a lot about Vince Vaughn. That's kind of the end of the sentence. There is no but on that one. It's just
my celebrity crush is Kate
Vaughn.
Blanchett as
Lilith.
Lilith.
Well, you clearly didn't like her very much because only $8.8 million was made in the opening weekend for Borderlands. It came in 4th in the box office on its opening weekend. It got a Rotten Tomato score of 0 on release. It is up to a whopping 4%. Let's check what it maybe has changed.
I bet it's going to be at like 21 now.
21? I bet like 3. I bet 8. That's my guess. It's loading. I'm going to guess 8.
Let me look it up too, and don't tell me what it is yet.
Okay, it's not loading on my screen, so maybe you'll be able to find it.
I spelled tomatoes
You
wrong.
tell me. I don't think it'll matter. Was I right?
Do you want to know the tomato meter or the audience score?
I don't care about audience score. I just want to know the tomato meter.
The tomato meter has it at 9%.
You said like 20, right?
Yeah. I will say the audience score is 52.
Yeah, but audiences are idiots. Unless sometimes they're right. But 52 is also not good. Like, I wouldn't go see a movie for 52%. Personally.
Yeah, me neither. I like how some of these like audience reviews, I'm like, do you guys just like eat pig slop for dinner? Like, I don't understand. Good movie
That's
from
why I'm
Xbox
saying, like,
360 games. This is an excellent movie, and I always love Jamie Lee Curtis because she is fabulous.
That's true.
Very good fantasy.
I probably would
flick.
like her.
I wouldn't really classify this as fantasy. But, you know, I like this 3-star review. Is good. ... Was it?
Is it a question? It feels inconclusive, shall we say, to say it that way.
Yeah, your ellipses.
I want to go see it with you, Kelly. I mean, I don't.
I will watch this on
a
streaming platform with you, but I will not pay money to see this movie.
I don't know if I would do that even.
Okay, so what was the point of you saying that you wanted to see this movie with me?
I think if we had been on the forefront, I think if we went on like release night, like when they do like the previews on a Wednesday, if we went then and then did a podcast that night from the theater, that is the only circumstance where it would be at all valuable.
Okay.
But we're not. We missed that. The boat, train, the car, the cabin, the plane.
You know what we missed?
Boat. I already said that.
We missed the flight to Chernobyl.
Dang. What are we going to do without that flight to Chernobyl?
Well, we actually couldn't go there anyway.
I think you can. I just don't want to.
No, I don't think you can right now. On account of the war.
Because we can't go to Russia, yeah. But if you lived in Russia, you can go to Chernobyl.
That's true. But you will have to wait until November if you want to play Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl. Because it has once again been delayed.
That sucks.
That really it does really suck.
It only sucks because the last time they delayed it, they said, this is the last time. It's like, don't say that, guys. And
the journey of this
it's
game
Ukrainians developed, so.
Yes, the journey of this game is really wild. It was supposed to happen in 2012, which for those who don't know, that's like 12 years ago.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
And then obviously there was some issues, and then they were like, oh, 2018, we'll see you in 2021. And then the craziest thing happened. It's not funny, but the craziest thing happened. There was a whole invasion, world at war.
Nintendo delayed
Advance Wars 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah. There was a fire at the office. It's not funny. I believe this game is cursed. I'm actually starting to believe, and I don't say this seriously because I don't want these people's livelihoods to suffer or anything, but I'm starting to seriously believe that releasing this game may be releasing some sort of ancient evil into the world. And the office and everything, it's just cursed.
Did you notice that they didn't even say final delay on this one?
I know, they really are giving themselves a lot of grace here.
Like at this point, I'm like, you guys shouldn't give a release date. You should just wait, and when it's done, you'll be like, okay, it's out. Just drop it.
Yeah, it's a bummer. I mean, I'm sure people are excited for this game, but I feel bad for these people. I know they've been working really hard, and obviously their situation is really unique and really stressful. So I do feel really bad. But this last delay seems to be more of patching and bug fixing, which is...
Oh, yeah. I'm sure the game is, like, functionally done.
Yeah.
Well, another game has gotten delayed, and that is Forspoken.
Hello?
Every time I read Avowed, I think Forspoken.
Is it because of the
And I said that one as a joke, but I do think it every single time. But Avowed is not that. It is the Obsidian game made by... Obsidian.
Oh, my God. Right.
I meant to say the fantasy game made by Obsidian. But it has been delayed out of 2024 into 2025, but got a solid release date of February 18th. They said that it was to give people, give their backlogs breathing room. And I say, please don't be dumb with your PR and just allow a game to have more time in development. That's fine. Don't be weird about it.
Right. But I am bummed that this got delayed, but actually it kind of makes me feel a little bit better because now I am not going to be like late to the party, because I think I would have been late to the party this fall.
So you like that they gave you the backlog thing?
Yeah, but not for them. The backlog for me is just so I can play Dragon Age all fall / winter. So.
And probably all of next year as well.
Well, and now we said it. Except for next summer, because you know what I'm going to be playing next summer?
I looked over because I forgot what was next, and I'm like, oh, is there something interesting? There sure is.
Dead by Daylight. I will be playing that. because I always play that game. I mean, I don't always play that game. I take like, big long breaks and then I come back to it. We knew about the Castlevania DLC, I guess, a while ago. It's coming out in about 2 weeks on the 27th of August. Very exciting. Because Dead by Daylight doesn't really have any gothic themes. So it's cool that there's like, very standard classic Castlevania, Dracula and Trevor and werewolves. Well, not werewolves, but wolves and crows and blood and castles and moonlight. There's also another thing happening with Dead by Daylight, which is actually kind of wild. There's finally, after many years of people in Twitter comments and replies saying, please, please, please add Freddy Fazbear, Dead by Daylight will be collaborating with Five Nights at Freddy's next summer, which is probably the earliest they've ever announced any sort of collaboration.
Yeah, I thought it was a mistake.
I almost have a feeling that it's not actually going to be. I think this would be such a bad move, but the way that it's framed is kind of weird because with every other DLC slash expansion, it's been Dead by Daylight and then just the name of it. But this X is what they usually put for like cosmetic collabs. So part of me is almost like, are they just going to do like cosmetics?
No.
That would be...
Not if they give a year of lead up.
Yeah, I think maybe they were just trying to communicate that they will be working with Five Nights at Freddy's and that team over there. Is it really a
It'll
team
probably...
or just Scott Cawthon in his Bible?
When does the new one come out?
I have no idea. I don't keep up with the franchise.
The movie. I mean, a new game came out like yesterday.
2025,
is it
right?
Christmas?
Next.
Yeah, but is it like Christmas though?
Maybe.
Yeah, December 5th. Because that was why I was like, oh, maybe it's lining up with the new movie.
Yeah.
But, which still would be weird for them to announce it right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it won't be just cosmetics, but a part of me, the cynical part of me is like, what if it's just like, you get a shirt with Chica on it or whatever.
I would buy a shirt with Chica on it in real life.
That's because you're a sicko.
I say that like it's a hypothetical and not something actively buyable right now.
But yeah, I mean, people have been asking for this collab for, I don't know, maybe as long as Dead by Daylight has been incorporating outside characters. So.
Oh yeah, I think it'll be silly to see because don't the killers like famously move pretty quick?
Yes, they do.
And Freddy doesn't, but
no, he doesn't.
I guess he will.
Yeah.
I also laughed because I watched the trailer for the Castlevania crossover and Trevor appeared and he just like reached down for his whip and it just wasn't there. And I'm like, oh, because I was like, how on earth are they going to make like a Belmont a survivor? Belmonts are incredibly powerful. And they're like, well, we'll just take all their stuff away.
I know. That's kind of like with Lara Croft too. It's like, she's pretty durable, but there's no temples to explore or walls to climb. There's no yellow paint on the walls to jump onto. So
yeah, if they had put like Alucard as a survivor, it wouldn't have worked because Alucard is just he's strong.
I think he'll be another skin for Dracula.
I guess that would make sense. Is the castle a location as well?
Yeah, I think they're adding a new map.
So there's just generators in this castle.
Yeah, but it's interesting because they have like a D&D map too, which is also a castle. So, but I haven't played since they came out with that, so I don't know what the generators look like there. They might be more like old-timey.
Okay, so they'll kind of even it out.
Yeah, like usually it's pretty, like I think the generators because they have like the Nostromo from Alien as a map. I think the generators on that look a little bit different too, so.
Well, I guess you'll find out in a couple weeks.
That's so true.
Are you okay?
Sorry, I had like a burp, but I didn't want to do it on mic, so
So you did that on mic?
Yeah, I just let it rip.
Well, I'll fix your burps by making you sob. Mario and Sonic, who you might know as buddies who go to the Olympics together.
They do other stuff too.
They don't. Oh, okay. I'm glad that the audience can't see what you do. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games is a series that's been coming out since 2008 for every Olympic Games. But then you might be sitting here being like, wait, we didn't get one for this Olympic Games. It's because the series is over, reportedly. I think this is a pretty big loss in some senses. I don't think that the Olympic Games ones need to keep happening. I think that's kind of like I think we've explored that idea plenty. But I do hope that they are able to use this idea and create something new. Like, it'd be cool if they just made a Mario and Sonic game that didn't need the Olympics, right?
Yes, it would be cool.
Do you know the craziest part? That's not the craziest part, but the part that I'm like, what is wrong with you people? The Olympics Association or whatever they're called, the reason that they're not making this anymore, reportedly, is because of the new app that they're using this year that they think is more valuable than a video game with Mario and Sonic. And that game is a generous term. That app is a platform for buying NFTs.
Wow.
So way more creatively valuable than a Mario and Sonic game for sure.
Yeah. I actually heard that Luigi signed up to compete in the triathlon, but when he was swimming in the Seine, he got sick. Mm-hmm. He has MRSA, and he's going to die. And that's why they can't do the game.
I'm not laughing at that. I just saw something funny about Vince Vaughn again. That's so sad about Luigi.
Did you? Never mind. Did you see?
What?
No, I'll
Go ahead, Vince Vaughn.
No, it's
Luigi?
not about Vince Vaughn. It was just a clip that I saw on Twitter of audio of Luigi from like an old Mario Party game, and it was like the French translation of it, but he says "oh my god," but he says it in English. And the way he says it is...
Could you give me an impression?
No, I actually can't, because I don't want that on the internet, because the way he says it is very suggestive.
Okay, I'll pull it up. All right, what do I look up? Luigi French? Oh my god.
No, let me send it to you on Twitter, because I feel like you're not going to be able to find it anywhere else.
Luigi French, oh my god.
I feel like it's not specific enough.
Is it this one?
Oh my god. Yes. Oh my god. I really
Was that audible?
I really like the Wario one. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's from Mario Party 1.
Why was Wario so concerned?
I hope that sounded amazing on the microphone. Did it sound really bad?
It was a little crunchy.
Well, you know what else is crunchy?
Patrick Star.
Yeah, that's
when
him.
He dried up in the SpongeBob movie with SpongeBob, he was really crunchy.
That part's so sad. I forgot about that part. It made me sad.
It is sad. But don't fret, because Patrick Star is doing great, and he's exploring the open world according to a now removed retailer listing. Because a new open world Patrick Star game is in development as we speak, as we live and breathe. The Patrick Star game.
I don't think it matters, but a physics-based open world game sounds like it might be like kind of ambitious.
Do you think it's going to be like Tears of the Kingdom, like Patrick trying to put stuff together, but it's like, you know that one episode of SpongeBob when he's trying to build something with SpongeBob and he like nails the board to his head?
Board to his head, yeah.
That's how I felt playing Tears of the Kingdom. That's literally how I
just
felt.
Nailing. Watching other people create literal like mechs and you were just sitting with a board in your head being like, I don't know what to do.
Yes.
I think this could be really funny. I don't have a lot of confidence, but it's by the same people that did the remakes and stuff that people have been enjoying, so theoretically it could go well, right?
Sure, yeah, sure. Sure.
Theoretically.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Let's talk about a real video game though, and that's the Yakuza series, Like a Dragon series. We were promised that we're going to see a new game at Tokyo Game Show. But we might have a hint about what it might be because we saw a trademark for new Sega published game Yakuza Wars. There's nothing else to it, and that is a very vague term. That's basically the story, but I'm very curious because that implies it is definitely not going to be similar to the genres we currently have on the docket.
Yeah.
Is it a tactics game?
Well, it's also like, weren't they not using the Yakuza name anymore?
Yeah, but I don't know.
Is it maybe
the
just
new
like a
TV
weird
show is called?
thing?
It might just be that like this one is called Yakuza Wars because it's like literally like a tactics game where you're going to be fighting Yakuza as like units and stuff. It might be like a fully cartoonish kind of game where like top down.
Could we make the units marry each other? Like in Fire Emblem?
See, when you say can we make them, I think Sega's developing it. So I don't think that you nor I have that power.
Oh. Okay.
So, yeah, I think we can do that.
Wow. Thanks.
But
I love any
I don't know, I'm
tactics
excited.
game that lets me micromanage relationships and then child soldiers. So,
I don't think there will be children in this
Well.
one.
never say never.
Well, anyway, that's the news about Like a Dragon Age.
Oh.
Oh.
Ooh. Ooh. Sorry.
You can,
Yeah, so Dragon Age, not obviously we talked about the whole Game Informer implosion at the beginning of the episode. So all of that stuff is kind of gone. Beyond
I mean, the
fan
game,
archival.
the info that they shared is still correct. It's just not as easily accessible now,
That's
right?
right. That is right. So we are kind of expecting a new roadmap for the game sometime soon and a release date within the month. It is August 13th as of time of recording. So if they want to share a new release date in August, they kind of need to do that soon. They are releasing an art book with the game, which was put up on a couple websites and then immediately removed. And the release date was October 31st, 2024. Dragon Age,
Day of the week is that?
it's like a Wednesday or something.
Oh, so not a release date for a game.
Yeah. Dragon Age Inquisition had an art book as well, and it came out on the same day as the game. So people are thinking that this art book will probably be releasing either on the same day as the release date or right after or right before. So people are now saying October. There has been some rumors floated by a reliable source that it's going to be October. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. I wish they would tell us now so I can coordinate my paid time off. Just kidding. So I can... No. Yeah. So I can coordinate my PTO.
Why did you pull back for a second?
Because I don't know.
Do you think your employer's listening right now to minute 53?
I don't really know what my employer's doing, to be honest. My job is kind of crazy right now. Anyway, we don't have to get into it. Very exciting. I hope that we hear more soon. There was like a whole panel with the voice actors. It was right before, like literally right before, it was at San Diego Comic-Con, so it was like right before the strike happened. And they had like a special allowance to do that one panel, but then they like couldn't do anything else at Comic-Con, which is, I won't say a bummer because obviously they're striking for a good reason, but it's like, oh man.
The lead up is quieter.
Yeah, I feel like the marketing for this game is cursed. It's like Game Informer exploded. Half the voice actors can't talk about the game. The other half are not talking about the game in solidarity. It's like, man, that's rough. But anyway, so yeah, so that's kind of where we're at with Dragon Age. It does feel a bit odd because it's like for 10 years now, it's been pretty much nothing. And now the general mood online is like very like, when is it? Where is it? Where's the roadmap? Where is it? It's like, you guys, you don't even know what it's like to wait for this game. You can't even begin to know what it's like to wait for this game. So just relax for a little bit, okay?
Yeah, I'm sure you probably feel it's funny watching people be impatient where like you're probably feeling bliss because you're in the final weeks, literally.
Yes. It reminds me of the like the lead up to Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
Where it was like the hype was slowly building up. Now I will say Baldur's Gate 3 had a very different kind of hype because they pushed the release date forward, which was like
So people were freaking out, yeah.
unheard of. So now it's like we just need the release date, which I'm very eagerly
Well, it's
waiting.
not that unheard of. Do you know what other game got the release date pushed up this week that I didn't even put in the news sheet because it's too important?
What other game was it?
Lollipop Chainsaw.
Oh, it was.
I'd say that's probably higher par than Baldur's Gate 3 for sure.
Right. That's right.
Kelly, we both played games this week.
That's right, Andrew. I did play games this week.
All right, let's do rock, paper, scissors. Loser goes first.
Rock,
Ready?
paper.
Wait, no, what do you do? We're
Right,
gonna do
right.
it. They can hear the pop,
Right,
pop,
right.
pop. Psh. Ready?
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Okay, again, we both did scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh, okay. I guess I go. Well, do you want to go first or second since you won?
I'll go first because I'll probably be pretty
Okay.
brief.
Oh, okay. Also, I like because there's like not. I never notice a delay when we're talking, but when you're playing rock, paper, scissors, that fraction of a second,
That's tough.
it's challenging.
Yeah, so I played 3 different games this week. It was a little bit difficult for me with my power being out, but I do have an iPad. So I was on my iPad baby mode and I played a game called Good Pizza, Great Pizza. It's just a pizza making game. That's all it is. You own a little pizza bistro and you make pizzas for people. And it's cute and it's quirky. There's something in between. So every day you play in days. At the end of every day, you get a news report from Pizza News Network, PNN. And also something really cute about the game is like each individual customer kind of has their own thing and you get like return customers. There are people who come in and you give them pizza for free because maybe they're like struggling. And then there's like this woman who really likes eggplants. So she like gives you an eggplant seed. And then you can use
Eggplant, plant, seed,
plant seed. And then you can use the eggplants for your pizzas. It's really fun. It's free on the App Store. Well, maybe I have Apple Arcade, so maybe it's not free. I'm pretty sure it's free. It's free on the App Store on iOS. And yeah, I mean, I feel like to me, I like the game because the ad experience is you can kind of curate it. So obviously you can watch ads to get more stuff, but you're not being interrupted by ads at the end of every day. It plays more like a game. And it really reminds me of the pizza making game from Club Penguin, if you remember that.
I didn't play Club Penguin.
Oh.
Sorry.
I literally don't even know how to respond to that.
I think I kind of missed the boat on that one.
There was a game in Club Penguin where you'd go to the bistro and you would make pizzas for people. And it was really straightforward. You just take the dough and then you'd put some sauce on and then you'd like cheese, all the toppings, whatever they wanted.
So what's
It
the...
was really fun.
How do they make money? Okay, because it's
The
$10
ads, I'm
on
assuming,
Steam
because
and
if you want
Switch. And it's free on phones, so...
Well, with phones, I don't know how it works on Switch and PC because you have like diamonds that you can use to
Is
buy
it maybe
stuff.
unlimited?
And if you watch ads on iOS, you get more
Maybe
diamonds.
it's just unlimited or something.
I don't
or
know
you
how
get
that
more
works.
on for the
That's
paid version.
interesting. Yeah, that would make sense. So I played that. That was really fun, especially as me and my husband were kind
With
of
your
living
iPad?
Amish for a couple days there. Well, I could only play my iPad for so long before it died. So, I did get a lot of reading done. I also played a very similar game. I finally got to the Elden Ring DLC, Shadow of the Erd Tree. Did I
you
talk
had
about
just
this
started
already?
it. The only boss you had fought was the dancing lion.
Okay.
I think, if that.
Oh.
Or maybe you
Well,
just
then
walked
maybe I
in.
guess I did talk about this. I haven't really progressed. I haven't really progressed past that point because
The
of the
lack of power situation.
Yes, I defeated Black Jail Knight. I cheesed him really hard. You guys, I
That's
think I'm
okay.
cheesing it a little bit too hard. I have this magic spear attack, and I stabbed him, and he fell over. And then I stabbed him, and then he fell over. And then I stabbed.
That's
It's just
funny.
he like couldn't get up,
Don't.
and then I felt kind of bad. But I also kind of didn't because it was not a fun fight from what I've seen online. And then I also defeated the Divine Beast Dancing Lion, uh, which was really fun. I love that boss fight. The music is so good. The way that it changes with every phase, every element is really cool. I defeated a
In real
man
life?
in the woods
Oh.
named Loger. He had sideburns
Oh, the
and
bear claw guy.
claws in his hands. And I thought to myself, is this a reference to X-Men? And then I thought to myself, yes. And then what else did I do?
Did you beat the game?
Trying to think.
Oh, sorry, I forgot that you
No,
stunk.
I haven't been able to. I have not been able to because I
Excuses.
didn't have power. And I haven't really played it since I got my power back because somebody else has been utilizing my PlayStation 5 to play
Oh, the one that is
a football game.
What's the word? Like a virus for your PlayStation 5?
It hasn't done
Okay,
that
good.
since they patched it, so I think it's fixed. The one game that I really, really wanted to talk about is a game that I actually just started recently. I'm not going to say when because I already played 8 hours, and if I say what day that I took a whole 8 hours playing it, I might get in trouble with my. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. I downloaded it. So I started following this game back in like 2021 called Fields of Mystria. It is a farming simulator, retro style, like retro 90s anime style. Andrew, you'd probably really like it just based on the style alone. It is very, very reminiscent of Stardew Valley, but it just entered early access a week ago on the 5th. I did not get a chance to play it until a couple days after. It's still in early access, so there's still a lot that I can't quite get to yet. But I will say it's really, really, really fun. Like, I could not stop playing. Like I said, it's very reminiscent of Stardew Valley. You're a farmer, you're in a new land, and the whole thing is you get to know people and you collect things and you farm. And that's pretty much the gist of it. There are mines, there's fishing, there's bug catching, which is different from Stardew Valley. You can't catch bugs in Stardew Valley. I don't want to do like a one-to-one comparison for everything because I don't think that's fair to this game. But I will say that I think, to this game's credit, the character writing is like a lot. I don't want to say better because I like the characters in Stardew. I think what happens with Stardew is that you play it so much and there's only so much dialogue and only so much progression. Like, it's odd that there's characters in Stardew that are children when you first move there, right? And you can play the game for 10 years and they will still be children. They will still be the age they were when you started. So it's kind of like, it doesn't feel super lived in versus this game where every character sort of has like a role. They do things every day. They do different things. They talk to each other. They reference things that you do. Like, I caught a worm and I put it in the museum. And there's a character, his name is March. And he was like, are you telling me that you caught a worm and you put it in a museum and that was a big deal? And I was like, yeah. He was like, this town is insane.
So funny.
These people are crazy. And it's like, he's kind of right. Like, people are really making a big deal about this worm. But yeah, it's really fun. It's $14. And yeah, if you like farming simulators, obviously I would recommend this game to you. If you like romance in your video games, I would recommend this game to you. If you like life sims, I would recommend this game. The music is really, really good. Like I said, it's got that sort of like retro 90s anime. Everybody's got big poofy hair, but it doesn't feel old. I mean, it feels quite streamlined. And there's also a dragon, and he has a little heart next to his name, which means that you can marry him. So, just throwing that out there for anybody who likes dragons, because I do.
Yeah, I just looked at some stuff and some footage, and I think it looks really sharp and really cute.
Yeah, so highly recommend. It's not out on anything yet other than early access on Steam. So, but they are planning on doing like a full release on all platforms.
No release date though, right?
No, not yet. There's an update coming later this year in Q4.
Huh?
And they have like a roadmap. I hate the word roadmap. It's all I've said. And they have a roadmap for.
You said that, and then I thought you were gonna say a different word. You're like, they have a roadmap. Ugh, I hate that word. I'm not gonna use it. They have a roadmap.
I'm just sick of saying the word. I'm sick of roadmaps. I'm sick of them being in my head. I'm sick of thinking about the Dragon Age roadmap, which has still not come out. I'm sick of it. I don't need a map. Okay, just put it in the GPS and let me go. That's all I need.
Oh, goodness. Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I'm glad you have some new cute little farming game to keep you happy, and it's a game you played at only during leisure hours and no other hours.
Yeah. Andrew.
Yeah.
What did you play this week?
I played a whole bunch. Just as a reminder, we have had 2 weeks off, so when I say all of this game-ness that I played, please don't judge me too hard, because I say this week, but I meant these past 3 weeks. I finished Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. I talked about it plenty last episode, so I'm not going to say much other than if you've played the original, you don't really need to return unless you do want to re-experience the game. The quality of life improvements are great, but the story does kind of just end up in the same general place. So it's not like it's an absolute necessity. It also got very easy at the end. Partially because they give you so many resources and I just kind of saved them, and then at the end I used them all, and it really made me incredibly overpowered. Like, you get an item that just levels up your character, and I had 12 of them just sitting in my bank at the end of the game. And then like the final dungeon, I was like, okay, I'll do that. So I was like level like 78, where most enemies were level like 65. And then by extension, you can level up all your demons to be the same level as you. So I just had a crazy powerful party. And the story didn't really thrill me at the end, but I still had fun playing through because it's a very fun game. Do recommend it if you've never played it before. It's a really, really good game. Really excellent Atlas RPG. But if you have played Shin Megami Tensei 5, you're probably fine. It's more of just like a fun revisit than a reinvention. And then I finished Final Fantasy 13 2.
Yippee!
It was... It was good. It was better than 1, without a doubt in my mind, because the gameplay was pretty good. The gameplay was like pretty fine the whole time. The final boss was really bad, like really terrible. And then the story is way better than the first one in the sense that, like, maybe lore-wise it's not as interesting, but it's way easier to just grasp. Like, I know exactly what happened the whole time, and I thought that was a huge, huge improvement. I think reducing the cast to just a couple essential characters made it more focused. Because, you know, say what you will about the original 6 party members in the first game, but, like, they don't all have a lot of purpose, especially by the end. Whereas this game kind of just focuses on Sarah and new character Noel. I think it is a notable improvement over the first game. I am going to play the third one. I'll report back.
Lightning Returns.
Final Fantasy 13.
I remember that game being really butt ugly to look at. And not because of like the graphics, just because of like the design of the game was butt ugly. But maybe that's just my bad memory. I don't know.
It looked busy from what I saw. Like, there's a lot going on in the world. But
yeah,
gameplay wise, I think it'll be more it'll hopefully be an improvement of some sort. We'll find out. I'll probably be starting it in the next near future. I can't say when exactly, and it'll probably take a while to finish because I play it with friends, but I would never play those games alone. That's the thing. It's like 13-2. I gave 13-1 a 5 out of 10 in my score. I gave 13-2 a 6.5. So definitely like a pretty marked improvement, but also still bad. Like still not a good video game. Not a great video game, at least. So hopefully 13-3 can keep that pace and at least get a little better. I'll report back at a later date. I also played and finished Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. That is the game set in the Sengoku period of Japan, made by From Software. It's the ninja one. Or Shinobi one, I should say. Have you played Sekiro?
No.
That's crazy. You should.
Is it?
I feel like FromSoft. There's kind of a lot to unpack with this one. I played it all in like a week, which is it's 25 hours long, so that's a part-time job. But I had fun doing it. I was kind of like hooked in. It's so different from the other From games in a fundamental way, though, because the way that combat works, you don't have a stamina meter. You just have what's called a posture bar. So as you take hits, even if you're blocking them and deflecting them, your posture bar will build up, and if it hits max, you get like staggered, so they can do damage to you. But your enemies also have a posture meter, so if you're constantly perfect parrying all of their attacks and then kind of pressuring them when they're not attacking, doing attacks on their shield, you can build their posture bar up, and when it hits the max, you can kill them. Some enemies have multiple health bars, so you have to do it more than once, but you can either kill them by getting their health to 0 or by getting their posture bar all the way up. Posture bar stays up longer the less health they have, so if you get hits in on them when they're like not blocking for a second and stuff, it makes it so their posture bar doesn't go away as quickly. I've heard this game described as like a dance, and that feels very accurate because it is basically a constant juggle between attacking as much as you can and also parrying as perfectly as you can. I didn't quite get it at the beginning. It was really hard and not quite satisfying. I would say it clicked perfectly during the final boss, which sounds like a bad thing, but there's a lot else going on here. Like the combat is not all incredibly hard. Like the moment-to-moment enemies are pretty reasonable. Some of the bosses are entirely manageable. And the exploration between like the levels themselves are really fun. This is also the only FromSoft game that has like an overt story like this. Like there's no implication. They're just telling you a story with cutscenes, with dialogue, and like the whole shebang. Then it's straightforward and makes sense. I mean, it's still a little obtuse, but like it's happening in front of you and it makes sense. And your character can talk and is like he's a character. He doesn't have any customization involved besides like some weapon stuff. He always has a sword. It did kind of push me sometimes, push my buttons, get a little frustrating because it felt like the parrying didn't make a ton of sense. I think if I went back, it would be better. Like if I played a second time, I would have a lot more fun doing like a speed run, but I also feel like I got my fill, so I'm not going to do that. But like I said, like the final boss was just absolute pinnacle. Like it's one of my favorite FromSoft bosses, easily. It's incredible. But the thing is that like it took a while for that boss alone to just click. Because the way that the parry dance works, it's not actually called parry dance, it's just parry, attack. But I say that like it's easy, but there's a lot of precision, there's a lot of timing, there's a lot of animation reading involved, and it's really satisfying once you have a grip on it. And I feel like there are some bosses in some games, FromSoft games, where like I beat it and it doesn't feel like a triumph, it feels like I endured it, you know? Like I was like, oh, I finally did it right. I wasn't even getting mad at the final boss by the end because I was having so much fun just like doing it, which is really, that says something. That's a really high bar to be achieving, to just have me having fun without weird stipulation. So I very highly recommend that game if you do have any interest in FromSoft games. If you don't have any history with FromSoft, it might be a little rough. It's like, it's weird because if you've played FromSoft, you're going to have to go into it and wipe some of your memory of like how From works because it's different. Dodging doesn't work very well. Dodging is like getting around. You don't actually dodge through things. So you don't have that invincibility that you would rely on in the other games. there's a lot to unlearn, but also I think it'd be even harder if you didn't have any FromSoft knowledge, because the way that things function is still kind of fundamentally similar. And like the way that levels are designed and the way that you, go back to, it's not called a bonfire, it's an idol in this one. So there's like a little idol you pray at. It's definitely a FromSoft game, but there's a lot to unlearn if you have experience with the series. So just be ready for that if that's on your on your radar. And then I played one more game. It's a new release. It's called Kunitsu-Gami Path of the Goddess.
A new release.
I forgot about our new release theme song. I forgot we had that.
I'm just trying to engage.
It's by Capcom. It is a $50 release, so it's not quite a full new game, but it's also on Game Pass. This game is kind of an enigma. It's good. It's really good. I played the whole thing, so I'll start with that. But it's also hard to explain. The loop. I'll just quickly explain the loop of what you're going to be doing. You'll enter a level, and you have the goddess, and you have to guide her from one torii gate to another. So you stand in front of her, and you run across a level, drawing the path for her to go along. She does not move very quickly, so it takes her time to move through that path, and you have a day-night cycle. During the day, while she's moving, you can save villagers, because Japan is like defiled by it's called the defilement. So it's like this corrupt kind of yokai, weird ghosty things. They left their guck all over the place. So you can save villagers from that. Those villagers then can be assigned roles. So they can be like an axe wielder or a bow wielder, or they can do magic, or they can heal. You do that by paying resources that you get from exploring the world, as well as from fighting enemies, which we'll get to in a second. You can also find different chests and find a bunch of different stuff throughout the world while you're exploring. And there's tight little levels. There's not a ton to explore. And then at night, because inevitably the goddess will not she will not finish the path of the goddess in one day. There will be a night that occurs, and then from the torii gates comes these terrifying demons. You have to fight them, so you kind of have a pretty simple Devil May Cry-ish combat, but you also have your villagers that you assign to different roles, and you can assign them in different places. Early on, there's going to be one torii gate that's spitting enemies out, so you kind of just stand there and take them out. It's not going to be hard. But later on, there will be torii gates all over the map, so the enemies will be flowing in. It's kind of like a tower defense situation, and you want to make sure they don't get to the goddess. If they do, they'll start beating her up, and if they beat her up enough, you'll lose. So it starts pretty simple, but it becomes this really interesting game of strategy where you're constantly trying to explore this world so you can find new villagers and get more money, and that money is how you pay to make the villagers do important things, and how you also need the money to guide the goddess. If you don't have enough of the resource, you can't get her to go forward. There's a lot going on, and some of the levels do have interesting gimmicks. So you're on a boat this one, or this one's dark and you have to light lamps along the way. There's also boss fights. So you can kind of actively guide all of the people to attack a boss, and you want to make sure you're careful, because if you're not paying attention, the boss could summon other enemies, or the boss could just absolutely destroy the goddess if you're not careful. And then once you beat a level, the villagers that you saved in that level will become just regular villagers that are just living their lives, and you go in and you can repair the little villages that they're in. So there's 20 levels-ish, and at the end of every level, you can go back in and commit villagers and time. So let's say, you can rebuild this gate, and you just need 3 villagers, and they need 2 days to do it. So you go and you play 2 levels, and you come back, and they have rebuilt that thing, and then you get some reward for it. And there's so many levels, and there's not a ton of stuff in every level, so you'll finish rebuilding villages completely. But it's kind of this fun loop where after you finished a level that has this intense combat and a lot of strategy, you go back and you just kind of do a little bit of a city builder, a little bit of a sim thing. And it's a really fun loop. I think that kind of kept the pace really nicely spread out, because you're not just constantly doing this combat and doing this strategy stuff, because it can get kind of stressful. You can take a break and do this really simple and fun city building element. And it is simple. I'm using that word because it is not crazy complicated, but it is also very fun to do. There is not really a story in this game. There's an implied story, as the goddess is kind of taking on corruption, so she is getting more and more corrupt looking as she's going through, trying to save the world. But it's all in the background. There's like no spoken dialogue. It's just move on. Sometimes you get a cutscene to introduce a boss and stuff, but this is a game. You are here for the video game experience. You're not going to get some crazy narrative or lore or anything. It's mostly just about having a good time. I really highly recommend this game, though. It took me like 12 hours to finish. It's on Game Pass. It's a really unique game. It's like I kind of want to compare it to Pikmin, but it's more like instead of chucking a Pikmin, it just goes whacking. You like place the Pikmin where you want it, and then you also have like a little bit more control over yourself, so you can literally swing your sword and take out enemies and help out those villagers, so they're not just getting beat up for no reason. And like getting everything in these worlds during the daytime is like, it's really fun, and it's also really stressful because you have a limited amount of time before nighttime, and at nighttime all that stuff goes away. You can't collect any more resources once it's nighttime, so you have to get as much as you can, you know. And it wasn't particularly hard. I could go back and play on hard mode now that I finished it, but I only died like twice, and once of them was just like a misunderstanding of how the mechanic worked. So don't expect a big challenge with this game, but there's so much to see, and it's a really fun time. I was pleasantly surprised, and I hope that Capcom and maybe some other, you know, Japanese publishers let their B teams make interesting games like this, because it is well worth the resources that they spent on it. I know it's not a Resident Evil game. I know it's not a Devil May Cry game, but like, I still think this is worth people's attention, and I think it's worth Capcom's development resources. So that's Kunitsu-Gami, Path of the Goddess.
Very nice.
Kunitsu-Gami, spelled Kunitsu-Gami, in case you're trying to look that up and you don't know how.
Yippee!
So, and then I'll make a promise of a game I'll play before next episode, because I started it very briefly, and I know it's not very long, so I'm going to promise it right now so that I have to play it. And that is Thank Goodness You're Here. Have you seen anything about this game, Kelly?
Nope.
Not
a thing.
I think you should look into it, and I think you might want to play it. It's short. It's only like 2 hours.
Is it on Steam?
I think it is, but you can check.
Here I go.
It is a cartoony, kind of adventure-ish game where you're playing as literally a little guy in England, in a place with very thick accents, and you run around and you do little tasks for people, and they say, "Oh, thank goodness you're here." And then you do like the weirdest little things, and some of them are just super, like, one of the first things you do is you find this person and their hand is stuck in a sewer grate, and they're like, "Oh, my hand's stuck, can you get some lubricant?" And then you go to the butter store and they're like, "Oh, it's locked up because the locksmith isn't coming in." So you go to the bar and the locksmith's like, "Oh, I'm just having a little drink, but the beer isn't working." And then you are like, "Oh, okay." So you go down the pipe and you become tiny. Like, the gameplay style is kind of constantly changing. Sometimes it's side scrolling. Sometimes you're kind of like top down. And sometimes you like, the proportions will all change. So you go down the sink and you're like a tiny little guy in the sink, and you have to fix all the little beer. So you boop, 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 and you punch all the barrels, and then the beer works. And then the guy's like, "Oh, I had my pint. Time to go fix the lock." And he goes and he fixes the lock, and they're like, "Oh, you fixed the lock. Now you can have some butter." And then you get some butter, and then you give it to the person, and they're like, "Oh, I'm free from the grate because you gave me the butter. And now I pulled the grate out, and you can access a new level."
Oh, wow.
It's like,
I love a little guy. I love a game where you're a little guy. And you know what I think is funny? I responded to you in a British accent.
Oh.
Without even realizing.
I thought you might have known.
Game.
It's very British. So turn on subtitles.
Yes. Well, I watched a lot of Love Island, so I can actually determine a lot of English dialects. So.
Well, you should play it. It also has Matt Berry in it, and I love Matt Berry.
Oh, yeah.
But it's only a couple hours long, and I played a good chunk of it, as you could probably tell by the fact that I just fully described a level. But I will definitely be finishing that before next week. And I'm just suggesting it to Kelly because, one, it's short, and two, I think it's perfectly her jam. And then off the air, I'll harass her to play it more. So, because I did it on there, but now I'll do it off air. But that's my promise for next week. And then, do you want to tell the people what else we're doing next week?
It's Gamescom, baby.
Woo! I love Jeff Keighley.
I don't.
What the heck, Kelly? Rude.
I'm joking. Yeah, we're gonna have a little Gamescom moment. Gonna communicate to each other about how we feel about games. Ha ha ha. And we're gonna go over everything. Well, maybe not everything, but we're gonna go over all the big stuff, and it's gonna be a fun episode. And somebody's birthday is coming up.
It's yours.
Oh,
Yours is coming up.
that it were. I mean, technically it is, but yours is closer.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. Yours is pretty close. We're like halfway there.
Sure. We're actually not. My half birthday's in September.
Oh, so we're not even halfway there.
Nope.
How do you know when your half
not at all.
birthday is? I don't even know what mine is.
Because it's 6 months from you. If you go to the dentist twice a year and one of your appointments is in March and the other one's in September, you know when your half birthday is.
I know you're mad because when you smacked the desk and your mic went boop, 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 boop. It doesn't work on mine because yours is on the table. But
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
I mean, I could just do the math. I could just subtract 6 from my birthday, but I'm good.
Well, yours would be February.
Yeah.
Your half birthday would be February because it's 6 months.
Yeah. But I'm not going to do that.
But
anyway.
You don't have to because I just did.
No, I didn't listen to you, though. Anyway,
okay,
we'll be
but
doing...
you responded to everything that I said.
Anyway, opening night live is at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard on August 20th. We are planning to record right after that. Well, I mean, when we would normally record on, but just on a Tuesday, so that we'll have the news fresh from the horses or from the Jeff's mouth. So we can, if you're interested in the news but don't feel like watching it, guess what? You could just wait a couple hours and you'll get a much more interesting version of it because we are really cool and we'll be recounting all the important things to you.
That's
Jeff
right.
said that there's going to be video game announcements, which he like leading up to the last one. He was like, we don't really have announcements this time, guys.
I just don't want to.
Get your hopes up.
Yeah.
I mean, he said like there's updates for things we already know about. And I'm kind of like, everything he said, I'm like, I'll watch it, but I'm not like pouncing up and down. But there's a lot of things we could hear about that the whole point of an announcement is you don't know it's going to be there until it's there. So I'll cross my fingers and I look forward to hearing what Mr. Keeley has to say. And I'll probably watch it live. Maybe. Depends on what work looks like that day because it is a Tuesday at 2 p.m.
Yeah. So we will see you guys then. And thanks very much for listening. And I hope you have a great day, a week, a month. I hope your power doesn't go out and stay out for like 5 days.
If there's a tornado, don't fist fight it like Kelly did. You will lose.
No. Get to the basement and duck.
Did you go to the basement?
Yeah, we had to.
That's crazy because you live on like the 80th floor.
That's true. We scooped up our little cat and we said, see ya.
Did you put her in like a carrier or did you just hold her tight?
No, we put her in a carrier.
Okay, I was going to say I'd be so scared carrying my cat.
Yeah, I would never. She's too wiggly.
She'd get away. We were in the parking garage or something.
Yeah. Well, there's like a little hallway leading to the parking garage. So we went down there and there were a bunch of other people with their pets. So did
only pet owners go down there because they're the only ones that cared?
Yeah, I guess
That's
so.
funny.
I mean, there's a lot of people who live in this apartment. There are only like 12 people down there. So.
Oh, well, I guess.
But there are like 2 basement levels and there are people on the first floor too. So, but the first floor, there's like a ton of windows. So anyway, thanks very much you guys for listening. I hope you have a great day and stay away from tornadoes. Bye.